Well, here we are. We're recording. All right. So, Jennie, I want to really just start by saying that it was a complete joy to get to meet you, connect with you, and have the opportunity to have a little extra time in the airport with you also, honestly, where we got to just walk around and chit chat and really hear more about each other's hearts. And that's first and foremost what I love about having opportunities to be in person, because I love that we can meet on Zoom like this. And Jennie, where are you located again?
I'm in southern Indiana,
Okay,
Evansville.
well, yeah, and I'm in central Wisconsin, right? So the fact that we can Zoom and see each other and, get the vibe from each other is always fun. But I'm first and foremost an in-person person. So getting to meet you and spend some time with you in person is always special for me. So I want love to ask you, what was your like push to say yes to attending the Berkshires retreat, and share a little bit about that. Like, why did you say yes to going? What were you looking to get from
Um, um,
that?
I try to attend at least one in-person event each year.
Mhm.
And when I met Joey last fall, I immediately said to myself, if I can attend an event with her, that would be my goal for the year. And I don't know, I know she had the cruise and that timing didn't work for me. I initially said no to this event and then regretted it and cried and all the things. And then it worked out that I was able to go. And so just it's such like you're talking about in person, it's just such a different experience to have several days and evenings to continue the conversation, to go deeper, to let your guard down. And I think you just get so much more out of time spent with people. I mean, Zoom is great, it's better than nothing, but it just doesn't compare to an in person ongoing event, I think.
Yeah, I think something I just thought about too was, like you said, that you mentioned the, several days and also evenings, and really getting that commune together and getting to, I mean, have meals together. I think that that is also a piece of in person and retreat specifically, to have, it's a lot to stop our business or stop our family things, or, leave our regular comforts and things that we have, at our fingertips, and we've built these routines. It's courageous for us to be able to pause those things and to be open to coming together with other women to see what else is here for us and see how we can be supported and give support to each other. And I love that you mentioned how that really is kind of like a layering. It's a depth that ends up happening because it isn't only this quick interaction that happens. It's like, oh yeah, now we get to go and ruminate on how those conversations were for the day, and then we meet back up in the morning and we start again, and it is another layer of our own, peeling back and what we're here for and what we're looking to receive or any of that. But then also, the interactions have another layer of them, that we get to see each other in a whole nother way, because we're all going through the program, so to say, of the week together, that just kind of bonds us together also, to, like you said, open up that vulnerability, I think.
Yeah, and I think there's just a thing to we're getting up early, like most people got up super early to get there. We're staying up late, having, dance parties and
Yes.
wine tastings. And the more exhausted you get, the more layers fall off. I think it just there's just something about being exhausted at an event and still pushing through and still just being more open to what's going on and letting people see you for who you are. And I'm pretty much about being authentic anyway. I'm pretty transparent. I will tell you anything and everything about myself. I've made tons of mistakes. I've done a few good things, but I don't hide them because I don't feel like anybody benefits from thinking I've, which I doubt they do, but if, if anybody thought I had it all together, I don't think that helps anybody. I think it helps them to find out all the ways I've crashed and burned and keep coming back.
Yeah, getting back up, persisting on being okay with, and I love the whole idea that it's a new day. I have a friend that she calls her Facebook group It's a New Day Cafe, but really we kind of embody that idea of we get to refresh, we get to really approach our day in a new way, because we are not the same people, especially after experiences like retreats, that we walk away with so much newness in our spirit and the way that we want to approach our business or our life, that it is a new day. Every day is new in the fact that we learned something from yesterday, even if we didn't sit down and journal it and do this whole process that maybe we desire to do, right? It's still there. We're still growing through whatever we lived through yesterday, and that we're, hopefully being more intentional with it, but it doesn't have to always be, planned for. That it is something that we just get to be a part of and know that it's new and that it could be different than yesterday. I think that's exciting.
Oh yeah. I think definitely, every morning starting out with your intentions for the day and just mindset. I really did not know about growth mindset and fixed mindsets until last year. And we won't say how old I am, but I'm like old and to never have,
Wisdom. I call age wisdom.
yeah, well, I was probably the wisest person at the Berkshires. Well, I'll just say that. Um, Not really, but age wise. But um, and now I'm just blabbering off track. Oh yeah, fixed mindset.
Yeah.
I found out last year for the majority of my life, I've lived with a fixed mindset, but I didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know that it wasn't just the way I was, which is what I thought. And so for years, I looked, not that I mean, to step out and start a business was a growth mindset. So I've done some things, but I could see where I'll start something, it would get difficult, and I would immediately think, oh, I'm not supposed to do this because if I was, it should be easy and I should be able to just know it and do it. And so I'd check that and I'd go to the next thing. And when it would get hard, same story. Oh, well, this must not be it. I can't do it. It's not easy. This must not be for me. Check that. And even starting my business, I now look at all the things I started and stopped and didn't push through because I really didn't know that I could, I guess, and that I should. And so um, just being around people with a growth mindset and a different outlook has been super helpful for me. And for them to call me out on it uh, at times as well is not fun, but also very helpful.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I like that you mentioned that the calling out part. I've worked on shifting my word to just say that I'm calling it in, because right, instead of pointing the finger, we really want to, call people up to their higher selves, to just recognize that we have the power of choice to choose our words. And one of the words that I like to lovingly call up is should, right? Shoulding on ourselves is one of the things that you actually would find me going like this to the screen and wiping the should off your face, because, right, we can choose to do something, or we can choose to, allow it to persist in our life and feel the discomfort that it's bringing us. But that empowering choice of, I can decide if the, this thing is no longer serving me, and I can choose to just take a step toward it to see if it is, and kind of test the waters out. So I love your authenticity in sharing that, even just a year ago, it was something very new to you to understand that, oh my gosh, I do have this choice. I can really do hard things, and that it's hard for all of us, right? I like that the understanding that the polished looks that we have on social media, right, is one view of anybody's story. Anybody's story. Anybody can have a polished selfie or a beautiful headshot, which you do, that, shows one side of us, shows us as a professional, or, however we want to perceive that. But it really is a highlight reel. We don't know the stories behind what anybody else has grown through and what they're currently going through. And, getting around women that are open to sharing the good, the bad, the in between, those moments that we're like, what the heck is happening? I don't know which way is up. And that we give each other that space. So I know that we received that, in the Berkshires together. Is there anything else that you would say that you found really supportive, or that you gained from being at that retreat and in the presence of the women that we were surrounded by?
I think that um, try to wrap my head around the question here. It's one thing to, live the entrepreneurial life, the solopreneur, you know, which sounds very lonely. Um, it's, you need a tribe. You need people around you that get it. Like my husband loves me, supports me. He has absolutely zero idea what services I provide for people. I don't even know what he tells people if they ask, like, what does your wife do? And he's like, oh, she's home all day with the chickens. I don't know. It's probably what he says. But he also has zero idea the business side and the things that are required. And so I appreciate him and his support, but it's nothing like the support I received in a group like that, where everybody's kind of dealing with the same things and they get it. And just being known at that deeper level is just such a gift. And I really, really loved having that and walking away with that, and then being able to continue that with the different people on the trip, and to just, kind of take it from where we left off and just continue the relationship, but to have that really solid foundation that went beyond the superficial level.
Did you know any of the ladies before getting together?
Not much. I knew Erica a little bit just from some online stuff and nails and and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And if people had been on a gloss call and I had seen them, or but not really very many. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was for me too. I think I had saw Pam on at least one or two, maybe, of the classes in the Gloss Loft. Because I recognized, like, her face looked familiar to me. And Krista, we had found out that we were Facebook friends
Are you?
years ago, didn't get connect, like actually connect. We had some messaging back and forth that was like, oh, we need to, have a one-on-one, and it never happened. And then we found out that we were connected and we were going to meet each other in person. But outside of that, Joey and I had, of course, connected as the photographer, and being a member of Gloss Loft for about a year then. How long have you been in the Gloss Loft?
Just since December.
Okay.
So super new.
Yeah, and I think both of us, I think we connected in the fact that Katarina Rando was the one that connected both of us to Joey, right?
That's how I met Joey. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Yeah. I remember that we had that exchange in the airport. I think that we made that connection. Um, so was your intention going to the Berkshires? Was that really to get that support and find more of that community encouragement for being a solopreneur? Was that really like your intention for going?
And I really didn't
Mhm.
really have an specific intention.
Okay.
I kind of just approached it that I knew Joey would be there. I knew that she would bring so much value to my business world because she has on our coaching calls and any other exchange I've ever had with her, I walk away going, how does all that fit in her head? Like, how can she know so much? So I just kind of wanted to have an open mind and an open heart and not have any preconceived ideas. Like, I knew it would be amazing. I knew I'd never been to that part of the country before, and kind of wanted to experience that. I mean, it was literally mind blowing to me that I was standing in a city that existed before Indiana was even a state.
Right.
And I know the United States is pretty young compared to when you go overseas, and things are 2,000 years old, and we were like, oh, the bicentennial, we're 200 years old. That's
Right.
my reality. 200 years is a long time, and so just to stand there and look at that monument that was like, we were here in 18 whatever, and I had to look up, when did Indiana become a state? And I was like, wow, we weren't even a state when people were living here and having a city. So it was just really good to get out of my normal surroundings and being isolated in my log cabin out here with the chickens and just go and experience something new and different, and definitely worthwhile.
I love that openness that you're speaking to, really coming with that open mind and an open heart, and just being willing to receive what was there for you. That's really cool. I like that. So I'm curious about the chickens. Is that a hobby farm? Is it a business, like a side business that you're doing? Talk about your chickens.
It I it's it should have taught me a lesson about when people talk about manifesting, because apparently I manifested chickens. I used to buy, well, I still have them, but like metal chicken little, sculptures. We have chicken plates that I got at Target with, plastic plates with the chicken on them, just different chicken things. And I thought someday it might be fun to have chickens. And so my husband has always had a dog. And when his dog passed away about a year after we got married, he said, I'm not getting any more dogs. And I was like, God, I was
Chicken
glad about.
time.
No, they were not on my radar. I
No.
thought after we retired someday it would be a
Oh,
thing to do. Well, I came home on my birthday 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, to a chicken coop in the driveway. And I don't think it was a birthday gift, but somebody down the road was selling one and he just happened to buy it on my birthday is how I really think that happened. But um that was August. I said we are not getting chickens before the winter. I don't want to try to keep baby chickens. I mean, I started reading at that point, and there's a lot. Neither one of us had ever had chickens. We didn't know what we were doing.
mm,
So I said, no, we need to wait till spring when we don't have to keep them warm all winter and all of that. So I think the day after Roll King put chickens on sale, he came home from work one day with 12 3-day-old chicks. It's like, we got chickens. And I'm like, OMG. So, just like very much like parenting, we don't agree on chicken raising. I'll read an article and think we should do this, and he'll read a different article and think we should do that. And we never
oh my
seem
God.
to read the same articles. Um, but it's really just, I think they kind of filled the void of a dog that he had because he then had something to, it's not the same by any means, but it was something and he knew I was interested in it. So I would have held them a lot more if I would have understood that they're the closest living thing to dinosaurs. So they're a little terrifying and they look like little raptors
Oh my
and
gosh.
they look at you and they cock their head and you're thinking you're plotting to murder me, aren't you?
Ugh,
Uh, it's like Jurassic Park when all the little ones jump. That's what they look like.
oh my
So I
gosh.
was kind of scared to hold them. So now they're not used to being picked up or held, and they'll come and eat out of your hand. But if you reach for them, they're like, oh, I don't think so. So I do it differently if I did it again. But the neighborhood where we live, rural people let their dogs run or they get out and they've taken out 10 of our 12 chickens. I'm down to just two.
Yeah.
But they were the inspiration for my newsletter for my business, which is called Fowl Language, FOWL. So I combine grammar and chickens and my quirky sense of humor in a monthly newsletter and post pictures of the chickens and teach little tips about chickens or how things came to be and why do we have turkey at Thanksgiving and not chicken, and just try to find whatever chicken things I can to talk about. But yeah, they're a lot of work, but they're fun.
I love it. So the foul language, where can we get on that newsletter and learn all the things about chickens? Because I mean, it sounds like even the experience that you've had with these first 12, you've learned so much that you're probably sharing in that. So anyone that is like, oh, I want to someday, maybe it's a retirement dream for them too. Maybe it's a hobby farm for them. Where can they go to get on that list?
They won't learn much about chicken tending through there, but they can always reach out to me. But my website, which is currently up, but I have a new one in the background. I'm trying to get out by the end of the month. What's today, the 25th? I got to get on it. But that whole tech challenge thing, it's been a challenge to try to get this website revamped. But yeah, my website, which is the jenniejolly.com. You can
Okay.
sign up.
Great. So if they're not learning about chickens and it's about foul language, what's a snippet about what you receive on that list?
It's a lot of grammar tips, things about
Okay.
that I tie chickens into it. I use chickens in the sentences for the examples and
Oh, funny.
just teaching, how do you know the difference between affect and effect and
Oh,
um, what's a homonym, what's an oxymoron, what's a mimesis, just all kinds of random language things. But then I also usually have something about chickens in there too. Like
Oh,
what's
so
dust
sweet.
like what's dust bathing? Do you know what dust bathing is for chickens? Maybe not.
No.
You will if you read it. You'll see pictures of them dust bathing.
That's so cool. I love it. Okay, so have you always been this, and I heard you say this, or I saw it on your website or something, word nerd? Was that what it was? Word nerd? Have you always been a word nerd and a grammar person? Is that your jam?
It is. I have always loved words. Numbers, nah, they're not my friends. But words and I get along great. And I remember spending summers. I had a big, comfortable chair in my bedroom that looked out the window, and I was very happy to read all summer long and look out the window at summertime. I mean, I went swimming occasionally, but most of the time I was just reading and going on adventures with Nancy Drew. And I was a horse nut. I wanted a horse, so I would read all the horse books and then proofreading just really became easy for me. Words, we've all got our superpower, and mine is words just jump off the page at me. Like I don't even hardly have to try. So I always did it at jobs that I had. It wasn't ever part of my job description, but I was always proofreading everything, or people would give me things to look at, and just something I love to do. I literally would read proofreading books for fun. I don't know who else would do that when it wasn't their job, but I did. So
Someone that knows their calling and knows what they think is fun. And we need people that do that.
yeah, when I got really fed up with the corporate BS, as I call it, and told my husband I'm just going to start my own thing. And I thought, what am I passionate about? What's going to get me out of bed in the morning? And immediately the first thing was proofreading. And along that, I also love to edit, which not everybody that edits proofreads or proofreads edits, but I do, because as I'm reading it, my thought is always, oh, I could make that better. And so I've done some editing courses too, so that I can do that. And um, yeah, it's just really what I love.
That's cool. So what services do you offer and what is your business's name?
I'm just going by my own name. The name that I had initially picked for my business was more of an administrative name, because I thought that was kind of the route I was going to go. But before my business ever launched, I decided I didn't want to manage people's calendars or their emails, and that wasn't going to get me out of bed in the morning. So I kind of shifted away from what everything was set up under to just use my own name right now. And I proofread pretty much anything unless it's highly technical or involves math. I proofread children's picture books. I proofread memoirs. I proofread courses that people have created before they put them out in the world. I proofread people's newsletters before they send them out to their mailing list. Just all ebooks. I did 2 ebooks last week that people sent me before they published them. And then I also edit. So and do a lot of developmental editing, like if somebody's trying to create their book, but after they've done it, I can say, oh, this paragraph should be here. And oh, you never mentioned this subject that you act like everybody knows what you're talking about. And you need to bring that in somewhere. And so I can more line edit, copy edit things as I'm proofing them. And then I also do some writing. So uh, I get my creative writing out with the newsletter, but I do help people write their newsletters or email sequences or website copy. Occasionally, I audit websites and tell people what's missing or what they could possibly change up. So if it's got words, I'm kind of down for it.
Jenny the wordsmith. There you go.
I know that's a chief word nerd. That's
Chief word nerd. That's it. Yeah.
my business. That's my title.
I love that. That's very cool. Okay, so let's wrap this up by thinking about the retreat and getting together. What would you say to anyone that is looking at going on a glossy loft getaway or a retreat with, regarding like the women that you got to be around from your experience in the Berkshires? What would you say to anyone that is looking to attend an event like that?
I would 110% say go. You really can't put a price tag on the experience. Just the amount of mastermind that goes on. I mean, just when you get two people together, you have something, but when you've got, I think we had like 18 people, when you have 18 women in a room who are all motivated and have different experiences in the business world, and they can offer, I mean, people are just throwing out things left and right. You're like, oh, I have this problem. And they're like, what about this? What about that? What? Because I can put a lot of roadblocks up for myself. I imagine we all can, but to have somebody else looking at it from a completely different angle and perspective and can just share with you how to get out of your own way, and also to be able to pour into other people's life too. Like I didn't want to go just what can I get, what's in it for me. I kind of was hoping, what can I give to somebody else. So
Yeah.
try not to cry again.
What I love, Jenny, about what you just said is that, um, you know, how can you just said something about, um, and it reminded me of exactly what you said that you do with your writing, which is, the perspective, getting a different perspective and having someone else take a look from a new view. That's exactly what proofreading, in my head is exactly what that is giving people your eyes and your thoughts about what they're saying and giving them that perspective of a reader to know, this doesn't connect well. This could be better here. And that's exactly what the essence of the retreat, from your words, that's really what happened, is that you had an opportunity to receive and to give in a space where it was, we're giving each other a different look and a different perspective on what challenges that we have in our businesses and what things that we're launching or building out that we haven't even came to the challenges yet, but we're, like you said, we're all in different spaces and places in our journey that we have those nuggets to share with one another. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that. Well, thank you for being open and willing to share about your experience in the Berkshires and to get to work together. I'm so happy that you said yes also to having your headshots taken by me at the Berkshires. And I know that was like a spur of the moment, like, oh, we'll just check it out. And again, you came with that open willingness to see what was there for you and that we were able to have that connection as well. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. It was really, yeah, it's just hard to put in words the the whole experience. But yeah, you were definitely a bright spot in
Oh, thank you. Well, from the word chief, it's funny to hear that you don't have words. No.
that. I know. It was
That's a good
that
thing.
speechless.
Speechless. That's a great way to top that off. I love that. Thank you so much, Jenny.